side has entered the coup mode. As you can see from the map, his unit is very close to Seoul. They can cross the bridge in no time. They'll surround the army's headquarters. For Chun, they're forcing the president to sign. Get the authorization as soon as possible. Because as long as we get the authorization, there's still a way to turn this around. As soon as they receive the news, Yoon Sung-min and his staff are in over their heads. It's said that out of the 450 generals and colonels, only Jang Tae-moon and a bunch of junior aides were left. There was no one left to fight. He immediately called the Airborne Special Operations Commander, Young Byung-chul, to withdraw his troops immediately. At the same time, he asked for help from the 3rd Field Army. Lee Jin-rong agreed to send the Cell Phone Division and the 26th Division to intercept the 1st Airborne Brigade. Their speed is a bit slow. Jang Tae-maru came up with another idea. The 1st Airborne Brigade must enter Seoul. The first step is to cross the Han River. All 3 bridges are under Jang's jurisdiction, so he immediately ordered his men to block the bridges. The bridge was blocked by private cars. It directly delayed the coup a little more. The 1st Airborne Brigade will have to detour to the 30th Division's Hangju Bridge. The Chief of Staff is in a dilemma. Commander Naoki told him to cross the bridge immediately, but the higher commander, Young Byung-hwa, told him to withdraw to the headquarters. It's the same old story. The Korean army is a successor to the old Japanese army system. They only follow the orders of their immediate superiors. That's why Young Byung-hwa's command is a bit weak. Can we get to the Shingjo Bridge? Where's the 30th Division commander? He received a call to block the bridge. But the worst thing is Security Command tapped the entire army's phones. So they called the 30th Division immediately and threatened him not to do anything. So the division commander was in deep shit. He ordered his men to stay put. Commander Zhang Taiwan had no choice. He had to go to Shingjo Bridge himself. Commander Jang found out that the bridge is not blocked. The guards wouldn't listen to him. He had no choice. He tried to block the passage of the 1st Airborne Brigade with his body. The little chief of staff of the 1st Airborne Brigade. He was in a dilemma. The brigade commander told him to crush Jang Tae-maru. The chief of staff was under a lot of pressure, in addition to the warning of Commander Young Byung-moo. And let only one person to force back the army. This scene looks quite miserable. Chun Doo-hwan came back to the prime minister's residence. He went straight to Choi Gae-hwa's office. He forced his way into the palace again. President still won't budge. He won't sign until the Minister of Defense seals it. Chun Doo-hwan was helpless. His secretary also gave him some very bad news. The 1st Airborne Brigade has been dissuaded by one man. Chun rushed back to the coup headquarters. When he saw Park Chil-do, he pulled out his pistol and said, "Either you kill me now, or go to the 1st Airborne and freaking bring the troops back to the bridge." While crying, he went after his 1st Airborne Brigade. He took out his gun and handed it to his chief of staff. He said the same thing: "Either you turn around and go back to the bridge, or you can shoot me right now." Such a laughable scene. But the troops indeed were go their way back to the bridge. Is 01 Brigade alone all that matters? Definitely not. Young Byung-chul also sent his 9th Airborne Brigade. They are all introduce you to Young Byung-chul. There are 7 airborne brigades under him. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. But 3 of them have to be mobilized by the United States. There's only one brigade commander in the 9th Brigade that can be commanded right away. His name is In Shingjia. If one brigade pushes into Seoul, the rebels will be unable to recover. What is the advantage of the rebels? They're tapping into the entire military and got the upper hand on the government forces. For example, the military is hanging on to 2 divisions and a brigade, but they've been persuaded to stop by the Yixing chiefs after overheard the calls. If the 1st Brigade returns to Seoul, they will inevitably lose. How can we solve this situation?
Commander Yang Tae-maru
saw a silver lining in the situation. The 9th Airborne Brigade. It's the same unit that was under Young Byung-moo's command. This brigade is also very close to the capital. They can definitely enter the circle ahead of the others. Most importantly, the brigade commander In Shingchi is not a member of the Yixing Hui. Just like him, he was graduated from the military academy, looked down on him. So Jang Tae-maru immediately called Yoon Sung-ji. That's how he convinced In Shingchi to send the 9th Airborne Brigade. It's expected to reach the capital before the 1st Airborne Brigade. I don't care how many soldiers you lose. It's all about getting a head start. In other words, no matter how the other corps move, the first one to arrive, that side wins. So after getting the news, Yixing Hui's old generals began to regret and start to complain. When Chun saw this situation, he was really angry. He gave a good scolding to a bunch of lieutenant generals. In fact, people are all like this. They're all afraid of death. Chun suddenly thought of a brilliant idea. He directly called the Deputy Chief of General Staff. "We were wrong. We just wanted to investigate Zhang Shenghe first. As long as we both take a step back, then send Zhang Shenghe back." When Yoon Sung-min heard this, he doesn't know what to do again. Naturally, he wants to make everyone happy. He doesn't want any conflict, so he gladly reached an agreement, and so they withdrew their troops. It's an obvious trap. Young Byung-young and Jang Tae-maru see through this, but they couldn't stop the stupid chief of staff. The 9th Airborne Brigade withdrew in no time. When the 9th Brigade was far away, the 1st Airborne Brigade sneaked back and quickly took control of the Hyeongju Bridge. Then they approached Seoul quietly to the military headquarters. When Yoon Sung-min got the message, it's over. A group of high-ranking officials immediately abandoned the army headquarters and moved to Jang Tae-maru's police headquarters, so they can no longer be blamed for. Before the military have even seen one bullet yet, the chiefs of staff all ran away. The reason why the rebels won. Yoon Sung-min's mediocrity is to blame. When Lee Shing-hui heard about the military retreat, their morale is soaring. There's only one left, Jang Tae-maru. He has no soldiers and no generals. Young Byung-moo heard that the deputy chief of staff had run away. In the end, his aide-de-camp was killed on the spot. He was wounded and captured. Jang Tae-maru is the only one left at the military headquarters. 1:40 a.m. The 1st Airborne attacked the Ministry of Defense. They captured the army headquarters. When Jang Tae-maru found out about this, he's shocked. Soon the rebels will surround him as well. He still has 4 combat vehicles and 4 armored vehicles. To capture Chun Doo-hwan, he's ready to do one last fight before dying. However, there were only 100 people willing to risk their lives with him. There's no point in resisting. His general advised him not to go. Besides, the chief of staffs are a bunch of losers. But for Jang Tae-maru, he's a man of integrity. He's the kind of man who'd rather die on the battlefield. Why did he dare to attack the rebel headquarters? Because he still has one last card in his hand. It's his field artillery regiment. When he passed the statue of Lee Sun-shin in the middle of the city, his troops have arrived. The rebel headquarters of the 30th Police Regiment. Come out and surrender immediately. Otherwise, in 5 minutes, I'll blow them all up with my cannon. So the rebels turn to chaos again. In exchange for death is not a win for the. So Chun rushed down to stall for time, just when the rebels were about to be annihilated. Defense Minister. He dismissed Jang as the commander of the Capitol Police. It's a nice strategy from Chun. You are loyal, don't you? I get your immediate superior to order you. Jang Tae-maru felt a wave of dizziness. Jang disbanded the death squad. A shocking coup d'etat, the spring of democracy, was cut short. Doo-hwan came to the Prime Minister's office for the 3rd time. This time, Choi Gai-ha couldn't refuse any longer. He had to sign the letter of authorization. Chun Doo-hwan took control of the military and government. In September 1986, he couldn't wait to take power. A minor general jumped several ranks. He became the president of the country in a few months. In May, before he even took office, he cracked down on Gwangju. Thousands of casualties. It's called the Gwangju Incident.